Hey guys, welcome to the Roscoe Empire Podcast, episode 2. Now, I know it's been a break, but I wanted to give y'all some more information. The next topic I want to speak on is about our history and what we as a people can do to better ourselves as a whole. Before we jump into this, I would like to give you a disclaimer. Everything I speak of is for educational purposes only, and they're from my opinions, my beliefs, my research, my experience, and my spiritual journey. Now, let's jump into it. We were more than what they say we are. School and society taught us that we were savages, slaves, and nothing but property. Today and forever, I'm here to tell you, you were and will always be something far more greater and important than what they want you to believe. We created life as you know it. We even created those who look down on us. And the people I'm talking about are any human beings who look down on other people. My brown and beautiful people. That includes our people who sit with them smiling and don't know the truth about themselves or don't want to. To be clear, I'm talking about white people who continue to bring chaos, confusion, and pain to my people still to this day. To other races and nations all over the world who sat back and watched it or even helped. And to our own people who helped bring destruction of our own people. You all are a part of the continuation of the battle we are trying to get out of. You are the problem. They traveled all over this world and took everything away from us. They took our land away from us in America, Africa, and if we really want to keep it 100, this whole universe is ours. It's ours. We created it. They took our way of living, our systems, our way of survival, and our spirituality away. Our true history / value was taken away from us and buried under all the pain they caused and stripped us for every morsel of our being, our name, our language, our family, everything. They took our pride, our worth. Most importantly, they took us away from our power source. I'm here today to get you back to that power source. Charge it up so we can know our true purpose and unlock those powers we all have buried deep inside of us. And I want you to understand something. We have been brainwashed and lied to all of your lives. One of the biggest lies are that you aren't from here and you were dragged here on big ships from Africa. What if I told you you were from all over this planet? Everywhere you go, the start of that civilization was once a person who looked just like you, brown as the soil, and to be technical, even green. But that's another topic for another time. Like I said, brown like you. I know at this point you're frowning your face up like, Keith, you crazy. You gotta be tripping. Nope. Check out the facts. Now, the definition of indigenous is originated or occurring naturally in a particular place, native. And native means the first group of people to settle in that land. Now, let's look at Australia. This is where audience precipitation happens. Pause this video, pull up a tab and search Indigenous Australians or Australians First Natives. I'm going to give you some time. Now that you're back, did you see yourself in Australia down under? The first thing I read was Indigenous Australians or Australians First Nations are with familial heritage from and membership in the ethnic groups that lived in Australia before British colonization. Now, let me say that again. Before British colonization. Colonization means the action or process of settling among established control over the indigenous people of an area. I'm going to read it one more time. Before British colonization. And colonization means the action or process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. To keep it a bean, It means coming to someone's area and taking it from them by force, killing or enslaving them. For example, you own a house. I see that house. I'm like, oh, damn, that house is nice. I want it. So I go in, I kill you and all your family. Or I make you guys slaves and I make you make the house clean, make sure the property is kept nice. That's total savage shit. And they've been doing this all over the planet. But yet, we're the savages. We are the ones that didn't have, how would I say? We didn't have structure. But we were all over this planet. And throughout this podcast, we're going to talk about different ones. We're going to go way deeper than Australia. Because there's proof in Europe, Asia, even America. We were here first. But we'll get back to that. And right now, I want to show y'all this video of a lady explaining slavery. And she puts it in terms where you can understand where it comes from and why we as a people still not getting out of this cycle, because we'll never be as equal until they do the right thing.
I right now decided that I wanted to play Monopoly with you. And for 400 rounds of playing Monopoly, I didn't allow you to have any money. I didn't allow you to have anything on the board. I didn't allow for you to have anything. And then we played another 50 rounds of Monopoly, and everything that you gained and you earned while you were playing that round of Monopoly was taken from you. That was Tulsa. That was Rosewood. Those are places where we built black economic wealth, where we were self-sufficient, where we owned our stores, where we owned our property, and they burned them to the ground. So that's 450 years. So for 400 rounds of Monopoly, you don't get to play at all. Not only do you not get to play, you have to play on the behalf of the person that you're playing against. You have to play and make money and earn wealth for them, and then you have to turn it over to them. So then for 50 years, you finally get a little bit and you're allowed to play. And every time that they don't like the way that you're playing, or that you're catching up, or that you're doing something to be self-sufficient, they burn your game. They burn your cards. They burn your Monopoly money. And then finally at the release and the onset of that, they allow you to play and they say, okay, now you catch up. Now at this point, the only way you're going to catch up in the game is if the person shares the wealth, correct? But what if every time you share the wealth, then there's psychological warfare against you to say, oh, you're an equal opportunity hire. So if I played 400 rounds of Monopoly with you and I had to play and give you every dime that I made, and then for 50 years, every time that I played, if you didn't like what I did, you got to burn it like they did in Tulsa and like they did in Rosewood, how can you win? How can you win? You can't win. The game is fixed. So when they say, why do you burn down the community? Why do you burn down your own neighborhood? It's not ours. We don't own anything. We don't own anything. Trevor Noah said it so beautifully last night. There's a social contract that we all have. That if you steal or if I steal, then the person who is the authority comes in and they fix the situation. But the person who fixes the situation is killing us. So the social contract is broken. And if the social contract is broken, why the fuck do I give a shit about burning the fucking Football Hall of Fame, about burning a fucking Target? You broke the contract when you killed us in the streets and didn't give a fuck. You broke the contract when for 400 years we played your game and built your wealth. You broke the contract when we built our wealth again on our own by our bootstraps in Tulsa, and you dropped bombs on us. When we built it in Rosewood and you came in and you slaughtered us. You broke the contract, so fuck your Target. Fuck your Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
Yeah, see? Very powerful video. and she said it way better than I could explain it. And I say that to say we would have been a powerhouse if they didn't steal from Africa, or they didn't steal from America, Australia, and all that. We'd have been on top. But we're not savages. We're not killers. We wouldn't do that. And I want to read this story to you guys. It's called Nature and Knowledge. One day, an elderly man in Africa took a young man into a forest and asked him, "Look around you and tell me what you see." The young man, after observation, he replied, "I noticed that all the trees are growing upward from the ground." "Excellent," replied the elderly man. "The lesson here is that you must grow. Everything grows upwards. There's not one tree in the forest that grows towards another tree, and they are all growing, each one in its kind towards the sun." As African people and black people, I don't like using the term black people, but I'll I'll explain it. But it's just a reminder of what you are, us as people. We have to grow no matter what happens to us. And our growth should not be a move towards other people or to become like other people, but we must grow towards the standard of our own value. Essentially, we have been trying by all means to develop and become like the people who enslaved us. And in that process, we have become not like them, but we have turned ourselves into a little British, little French, and a little Portuguese. The ancestor John Henrik Clark once said, "Whenever a people begin to think that their best way to live is to become like other people, they are making themselves prisoner of people they want to imitate. Whether there is a jail or not, that is not important, because the psychological jail of your mind to depend on others is the cruelest jail ever invented." The reason why our people always want to belong to other people's institutions and identify with themselves with others is not because of lack of resources, skills, or capabilities, but it is indeed because of two fundamental reasons. One is black people are afraid to go alone, and second, we are unorganized or disorganized. Mostly, we feel like going alone will be a destructive thing to do, and yet it's only being alone that people can manage to discover themselves and challenge themselves and grow as a people in charge of their own destiny. Now, when I say, let me stop it right there. When I mention Africans, I'm talking about our people, our brown people, because we're not just Africans. We're Africans, we're Americans, we're Australians. We started the civilization all over the world. So when I mention Africans, I'm just mentioning my people, y'all. So every time you hear me say that, I'm just being general and just reading this article. In fact, there is not one nation in this world that has emerged through multilateral assistance without their own strong internal focus of control. If life began in Africa, and Africa is the one who gave civilization and science to the world, it means that we emerged alone. In fact, we lived in palaces before Europeans walked out of their holes, wore shoes, and even lived in houses that had windows. Studies showed that modern Europeans' genetic makeup only appeared after 3000 BC. This means that prior to that date, there were no genetically modern Europeans on Earth. This also means that Europeans can't be the builders of any civilization that appeared before 3000 BC, since they didn't exist yet. We're all familiar with the Eve gene, but have you heard of Y chromosomal Adam? It is the most recent male ancestor from whom all living humans descend in an unbroken line, the original man. It is believed that he was born between West and Central Africa. Let's get back to the article. We prefer to belong to others, to be accompanied by others, because Africans by themselves are the only disorganized and disunited group of people on the earth. Truly speaking, other people have also internal conflicts that can even lead to divisions and war among themselves. However, when it comes to strategic goals that guarantee the survival of those people, they quickly put their differences aside and come together and work or fight. For example, all the European nations who united in the Berlin Conference 1884 to 1885 to divide and exploit Africa were not friends. They had conflicts among themselves, but for the sake of their survival, they came together, and what they did has been successful for all of them until this day. My people, we must define our own vision of the world we want and organize ourselves to achieve it, especially in this time period. Our survival and that of our children is on the line. We must act collectively, or the world will collectively act upon us. Finally, the elderly man gave another lesson to the young man. He told him, "You see that every tree in the forest produces fruit, not for itself, but for other people to use them. This is another law of life. Every human being has two major responsibilities to fulfill on a daily basis, and those are learning and teaching. If you think about our lives every day, that is exactly what we're supposed to do. If we cannot do both, we must at least do one. We must learn and be eager to transfer our knowledge to those following us. In a way, the reason why our people are failing is because many people do not In conclusion, natural laws are valid and true to all people at all times, and nature is our source of inspiration and knowledge. Our ancestors, many years before, were able to observe nature and learn about the stars, about the land, and societal organization. Today, we have more than what they had, but we also have more challenges. It is time for all of us to unite and rebuild, or disunite and perish. Now, that article was from a YouTube channel called Historical Africa. And please go there, subscribe, learn more. Well, guys, that concludes this episode. And I want to leave you with this: pass the truth to the next generation, teach them early what we learned late. And there's more to this video, so I'm going to add a part two. It'll be a little short, but just to sum up everything that I wanted to say that I didn't get down to. And I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching it on every stream. And I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. It's been the Roscoe Empire Podcast with Marquise Roscoe. Thank you. Love you guys. See you soon.